So the main objective of this research project is to understand those delinquency crises. The first finding of the research project is first diversity of crises. You have systemic crises, you have maturity crises, you have latent crises. We really need to keep an eye on those places where a microcredit bubble may burst out in the future. A second lesson is the diversity in terms of causes. Microfinance organization who has grown too fast, local economies which are unable to absorb too much money, greedy investors who want to make money, unscrupulous policymakers who are unable to implement proper regulation, who just exploit microcredit for electoral purposes. You also find local leaders who just exploit microcredit to build patronage networks. So diversity of actions to be taken to build a microcredit industry which would be more stable in the future. I see two main advantages in this grant. First one is very interesting balance between basic research and applied research. Basic research, here in this particular project, we use microcredit crisis as an opportunity, as a pretext to understand broader trends. The financialization of present-day societies, microfinance institution governance, theoretical issues about governance, and things like that. And applied research, because the ultimate objective of this research project is to build a dashboard, a list of indicators that practitioners should look at in order to prevent microcredit crisis. And another interesting aspect of this grant is the fact that it brings together people from different disciplines, which is not so easy in the mainstream academic sector. We have political economists, standard economists, people in management, we have anthropologists, and it gives us a very interesting group of people to look at the different facets of microcredit crisis.
I think our research project deals mainly with problems of capacity in transportation. Can be public transport, can be private transport. Very often, whenever we see a capacity problem, we immediately think about extending the infrastructure, adding capacity, while we think that very often pricing solutions could very well be a first step that decreases to a large extent the need for extra infrastructure. I think what is specific for this type of funding by EIB is that we can focus on policy questions as number one. And number two is that we get complete freedom and we get support in the sense that the sponsor is also really interested in the results. And being able to think freely about policy questions is something which I like to do.
Well, our research question is on the effectiveness of infrastructure projects in 5 African countries that we selected, and they are from the northern and south region. But what we're particularly interested is sustainability of those projects, because there's a lot of money being invested there, but unfortunately some of these projects are not being sustainable, and we're specifically looking at the institutions that are there to be able to monitor these projects. So the institutions, and we also include analysis of whether those projects are better off with foreign co-financing, because we think monitoring is then even much better. So this is our aim. I think STARBE grant mechanism is perfect because it does not only just give us financial support, young researchers to us, but it also gives us the opportunity to interact between the academia and the real world and discuss the issues, because I can look at data, but when I discuss with people who are working every day in this field, for example, from the European Investment Bank, I get much more better information that I can include then in my research.